Hey guys, welcome back to Time with the Whovians United. I thought we would do something different today. A tier list on the worst Doctor Who episodes from each series that the majority fans hate. I asked my Discord server to suggest the worst Doctor Who episodes. As far as the ranking goes, we have not bad, shouldn't be hated, meh, pretty bad, awful, and the absolute worst. I'm not alone today, I'm with another Time with the Whovians United member.
Hello, it is your boy, Corey. Hello.
Also, we've got a special guest with us. Introduce yourself.
Hello, it's Sam. I was here before, but now I'm back, so sorry about that.
Well, right, so I would agree it is the weakest of Series 1, but as you know, I'm a massive fan of Series 1. It's my favourite New Who series, obviously. So I am, of course, going to put The Long Game in not bad at all, does not deserve to be anywhere near this list. Because, you got Simon Pegg as the editor, who is iconic, of course. I know the story itself, I think it's just one of those that's just not as good as the others, because those are so good themselves. So I would definitely put it as doesn't deserve to be here. It's not on this tier list.
Long Game's a really good episode. Obviously not strong. I feel like it's a above average episode, and I love the concept of a failed companion. I said that in the Series 1 overview video. Yeah, I thought it was good. The concept's good, the character's great. Yeah, I think it's good. I would say not bad. Shouldn't be hated. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, same as Corey. I don't think it's a bad episode as such. It's just the most forgettable of that series. I like the editor, Simon Pegg. What's not to love? I think the Jagrafess as a villain was pretty bland, and I think it was just sort of thrown in for the hell of it. But I do love how it led on from that episode to the events of Parting of the Ways. I really love that link. It really made that series feel connected. And yeah, it's not a great episode. It's not one I will actively put on unless I'm doing, a binge watch of Doctor Who. But yeah, it's not a bad episode as such, just bit naff.
So, where would we all... I think we all agreed it's not bad, it shouldn't be hated.
Not bad at all.
I think I would put it in meh, to be honest. I mean, actually, no, I'm going to go with that as well. I'm going to go with that. It's not one I will go back and watch, but it's not one I hate, yeah.
I think that Love and Monsters needs to get out of here. Because that episode got me in love with my favourite band of all time. Apart from Muse, Sam, my other favourite band.
Ah, I was wondering that would come up in conversation. That is my first favourite as well.
Muse was my first favourite band, but then ELO came in afterwards. So Doctor Who got me into ELO, and for that one particular reason is why I love it so much. Again, it's not the best episode in the world. The Absorber Off is probably the weakest part of it, because once it's revealed, that's when the story starts to go downhill a bit. The whole mystery building up to the Absorber Off is really good, but they didn't really explore too much whilst doing it. And as well, to be fair, it bred one of the best side characters we've ever seen, being Mr. Colin Skinner. Because everybody knows I am Colin Skinner, because I'm doing the Mr. Skinner series. He loves ELO. So again, this is another episode that's not on this list, does not deserve to be here.
Everybody knows, out of all the members of the channel, I'm very talkative about this story. I even made a defender video on it, and I love this episode. I really do. I feel like the worst part of it is sort of the final act where we actually see the Absorber Off. I think the concept's great, the character's great. It's that one episode I love to rewatch. It might not be fantastic, but it's such an easy watch. I remember I watched it 3 times in a week because I was like, me and my other friends were like, we were trying to remake the episode, and I had to watch the episode, and I really was invested in it. It's such a good story. Elton's great. Elton, is he still alive? We don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in not bad, shouldn't be hated. I was gonna say meh, but as much as I love it and my character on this channel, I have to put it on not bad, shouldn't be hated. Screw you, Discord.
That would be a betrayal, George, if you did that. That would be betrayal if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I think Fear Her should be on this list more than this episode, because Fear Her is crap. But also Love and Monsters, yeah, it's not I don't quite share the same sentiment as in, you know, I love it. I tend to find myself rewatching it or whatever, but I do enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit cheesy. It's a bit silly. The monster's a bit, yeah. It's not an episode that tries to take itself seriously at all. Just a bit of fun, and I really do enjoy it. But yeah, in general, I don't think this episode should be on this list. Yeah, it's definitely not bad. Shouldn't be hated.
Where would I put the Lazarus experiment? I would put it in meh. It's not bad. No. It's not bad. I won't even say the CGI. The CGI is not the greatest, of course, but I'm not going to be one of those people who goes, right, bad CGI, bad episode. The story itself is pretty good, I think, and what they try to explore with. But I think overall it's just pretty meh, I'd say.
If Sam puts in meh as well, I would be okay if it was in meh. But if it was for me, I would have put it in not bad, shouldn't be hated, because I really enjoy the story. The CGI is the only weakest point of it, and I don't even mind it. It's like, okay, fair enough. And I feel like the Doctor was a bit of a dick. I know he's a bit of a dick to Martha, but like the only reason why he came back was because he was watching 5 seconds on the news. If he didn't watch that, he wouldn't be with Martha in general. So that was a bit.
Oh my god, I didn't ever consider that.
Yeah.
Wow, the entirety of Doctor Who could be completely different if he didn't actually hear those 5 seconds of news. Holy, we need to explore that one next. Come on, Chibnall. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna put it in not bad, shouldn't be hated either, because I do like this episode. A lot of the time I see people critiquing it because of its bad CGI, but honestly, let's face it, there's been worse examples of CGI in Doctor Who. Yeah, this was an episode that genuinely scared me as a kid. Like, the whole idea of this scorpion thing sucking people's life essence out and then leaving these dried up corpses, that scared me when I was little. It honestly did. And it was one of those episodes where I have those memories of genuinely being a little bit frightened of Doctor Who in those instances. Yeah, I like it. And I do like the scenes with David Tennant in the church, or talking with Lazarus. I do like that.
Right, with this one I am split, and that's literally split, because part 1 and part 2 are very, very different for me, and George will know all about this. Now, in my opinion, why on earth the Master suddenly got superpowers and is jetting off into the sky and spiraling all over the place and shooting laser beams out of his hands, I will never know, and that is not the Master that we should have had, because you know what the Master's like. The Master is not that powerful, and he will. And I understand the whole failed resurrection, and that's perfectly fine. Listen, I like the bits where he was phasing in and out and you see the skull. Perfectly fine, I can accept that. But have him shooting laser beams out of his hands and spiraling towards the sky and flying about, and that's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it? That's absolutely ridiculous. When we get to part 2 though, it's not too bad, because it's the Master being the Master. He's not just being all ridiculous and wacky, he's actually being the Master in part 2. So anyway, I think overall, as a collective, I would say not bad, doesn't deserve to be on this list.
Me, I like this episode, and I'm actually, when I got into the Who community, I was honestly surprised that people hated Love and Monsters and End of Time. I felt like I was in my own bubble. Why did people hate it? The Master doing like Power Rangers and Avengers and like woo! I love that. It was cool. It's really cool. I like stuff like that. But the farewell bit, it's not just saying goodbye to his old companions, it was also goodbye to that respected era of Doctor Who, with the Russell T Davies era, because the whole 4 seasons felt like its own big thing. I feel like Series 5 onwards was like, we exist, Series 5, but it doesn't really connect. And these 4, like, you have to watch them all, and it felt like a proper family, and it's really good. The story itself, the Masters just turn into everyone. It's silly, it's nice, but it shouldn't be like the final story you write for Doctor Who. It's still a good concept. One thing I'm actually happy about is that Donna didn't get her memories back as the Doctor did in Twice Upon a Time, like, because everybody would have been pissed off. I heard in reports and stuff that people were nervous of Catherine Tate coming back in End of Time because they thought, oh, she's going to get her memory back. But Russell T Davies didn't do that, but Stephen Moffat did it to the 12th Doctor for some reason. So yeah, I would put it in not bad, shouldn't be hated.
And yeah, my opinion is basically the same. I do enjoy. I think my gripes with it is that Yeah, like you said, it shouldn't really be a final episode of Doctor Who you should write. And for a regeneration episode, it's a bit lackluster in the story. But I don't mind it so much. But what really does make the episode shine is David Tennant alongside John Sims and Bernard Cribbins. Like, oh my god, there's some fantastic scenes in this. It's a good regeneration story as well. Just David Tennant. I mean, he's my favourite Doctor currently until I watch the rest of the classic. But his goodbye was so sad. And yes, I can see why people think it's a bit wanky because it's this long, drawn out sort of goodbye. But I personally really like it. And yeah, I think End of Time, it could have been better as a regeneration story. I think it was still a good two-parter, and I will put it in not bad.
Obviously, not a lot of people like the Paradigm Daleks because they're just smarties, basically. You know, multicoloured Daleks. Honestly, I appreciate the ingenuity and going somewhere different, but at the end of the day, they didn't do anything. They was there, they threatened the Doctor, then they left. And that was the main problem. You know, all the scenes down in World War II London, they was good. You know, the setting for World War II was good. But the only thing is, this is a rip-off of Power of the Daleks, because the exact same thing happens in the Power of the Daleks. The Daleks are there pretending to be all nice and everything, and the Doctor's like, why are you doing this? You are a Dalek, please act like one. So I'd say the reason why it's bad is because, one, it's a rip-off of Power of the Daleks, which is, for me, one of the best Dalek stories ever. And two, nothing really happens once they get to the Dalek ship. They just fly away and they win. It wasn't really much of a victory, really. They just flew away. So where would I put it? I put it as pretty bad. I'm sorry, Farron, pretty bad.
So for me, this episode grew on me. Last time I watched it, I thought, yeah, this is good. This is actually really good. And from Journey's End, you know, each episode was built up to this big, this exciting climax. So returning back to basics, I feel like this is back to basics in my opinion. Obviously the episodes after this got worse and worse. But yeah, I would put it in meh.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what they did with trying to make the new Daleks, because that was the design we had for 4 years. But I think, like I said, it feels like a bit like filler. It's a bit lackluster. The Daleks plan is also hinges on a lot to get right as well. Like, oh, we need the Doctor to come to a specific point in time and throw a hissy fit for us to to regenerate ourselves, and it's a bit like, well, that's fucking dumb, isn't it? Yeah, okay, this is meh for me. I'm just gonna keep it there.
Well, let's just put it very simply here. Absolutely yes. Because again, so the whole idea with World War II, great idea. And obviously with Hitler, the fact of the matter is, it's called Let's Kill Hitler. And within the first couple of minutes of the story, they chuck him in a cupboard and forget about him. Like, it's called Let's Kill Hitler, and they literally forget about him for the whole story. Literally lock him away and just forget about him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a clickbaity title.
I know it is. And the only way they made it fit was Melody say, Let's Kill Hitler. That's the only way it tied the story to the actual title.
That Family Guy be like, ha, he said it.
Time machine? I've got a gun. What the hell? Let's kill Hitler.
He said it!
Everything you said, I would agree with. One thing I do like about it was just sort of the opening scene where we actually, the flash back of Amy as a kid. I think that whole sequence was brilliant. The rest of the episode was just shit. I don't really want to watch this story, if I gotta be honest with you. I just don't want to watch it again. So I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna say awful, but it could be absolute worst. So if Sam says it's absolute worst, you should put it in absolute worst.
Okay, well, I don't have overly strong feelings for it. Like, it's bad, I admit that, but I don't have like an active hatred for it. But that's not making it sound any better. My one question is, why the fuck is Hitler in this? Why did the writers pen Hitler in it?
It feels like a first draft of a script that definitely need a lot more polishing and rewrites.
Yeah, it was such a half-baked thought, and then this is the point where regeneration starts getting overexposed, I think, as well. I think awful is a good middle ground.
Well, 2 in a row. Absolute worst. I think I quote this as my least favourite of New Who.
What about the Pitting episode?
Yeah, okay, maybe they might have to fight for that place. It's just a very confusing episode. Like, nothing makes sense. What is actually going off? And they literally had a big red reset button to undo everything that's just happened. Like, thing is, it tried to explore all the different rooms in the TARDIS and stuff. And it's called the journey to the centre of the TARDIS. It wasn't really a journey to the centre of the TARDIS, because it was more a journey back into the control room, really, wasn't it? They weren't really going to the centre of the TARDIS for any particular purpose. So yeah, absolute worst for me.
Basically the same, and a story that's set in the TARDIS and time to explore it, we actually don't really get time to explore it that much. We had that library scene, tedious. Oh, it's just so boring. I don't want to watch. I think Let's Kill Hitler has a few good scenes, or decent to watch, I guess. Okay, that's a weird. So it's averagely okay to. What's a good way of saying Let's Kill Hitler? I can watch it at least. Let's Journey to the Centre of the Time. And it's pointless. It has no relevance to a story. All these characters don't learn something. There's obviously conflict, but that doesn't exist. Bye. No, I put an absolute worst.
You made all the points I would make as well. It's awful. It's just the side characters are some of the worst. I don't like them at all. I just actively don't like them. And yeah, for a episode that's exploring the TARDIS, it's funny how most of the time all we see is corridors. It's so boring, and then you got these generic little villain zombie things chasing them. Yeah, I'd say awful for me.
Yeah, in the Forest of the Night, I do, for some reason, I do like the concept how the trees are actually protecting the Earth, because it actually makes sense, you know, fireball, oxygen bubble, it all makes sense, I suppose, it does make sense. But the worst part about this, and I've said it many times, is that I don't like to hate on child actors, because at the end of the day, they are kids.
Oh, you just want to drop kick it, don't you? So annoying.
Yeah, especially the ginger one, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. But yeah, so basically, I would put it as pretty bad. I wouldn't say it's absolutely awful, not the worst. So it's close to being alright, but it's still well away from being bad, you know, completely bad. So I'd say pretty bad.
So I'm just going to say it's an awful. Guys, so if there's a tiger, just flash it with a torch. You'll be fine. You won't get lashed on. Kids are watching it, but like, I want to see some tigers now. And then they just get ripped. Like,
yeah, that's misleading, isn't it? It's not quite Bear Grylls of levels of survival, is it?
Yes. Missing children.
I heard tiger maulings went up by 5% after this episode aired.
No, I don't like it. It's an awful. It's not like the absolute worst. It's not like I want to have shoot it, whoever wrote it. Oh yeah, mate. Please listen to your script editors. Please. They're there to help your script. Yeah, I put in awful. Sam?
But yeah, with this episode, yeah, the kids acting is atrocious. The shots of London with shrubs is okay, but the rest of it is just so forgettable. It's just crap. So yeah, awful.
I'll take the bullet, alright? I will take the bullet for you all, alright? Sorry, Matthew. I know you hate it a lot, but I don't fully agree. Anyway, I'm not saying it's good. Don't worry, I'm not saying it's good, because it's not good compared to everything else. But I don't think it's the absolute worst. I honestly don't. See, I think the whole scenes on Gallifrey is good, and obviously he's standing up against Rassilon and the rest of the Time Lords, and they all, step aside and decide to take the Doctor's side, and obviously he banishes Rassilon from Gallifrey, was pretty cool. And the fact, I know how desperate the 12th Doctor is to bring back Clara. I think it's fine. Him bringing Clara back is completely fine. However, she should have gone back to her own time and died at the end. It's fine. It's fine pulling her out and having a go, but at the end of the day, I think it would have had a lot more impact had he had almost got her back and then lost her in the end. So where would I put it? I'll say pretty bad. It's close to being not bad. I think if you rework a few ideas, it would be not bad, I'd say.
I liked what you said, mate. Yeah, I like the first 19 minutes of it.
That's very specific. That's very specific.
You always say that. You always say that. Yeah. After that 19 minute, it kind of goes down the hill. Boom, very fast. Gallifrey, we hyped Gallifrey for a while, but no. Let's move on to this random other story with Clara. You know, that story was done in Face the Raven, and Heaven Sent was an epilogue for that, and this was just a good Gallifrey story. But no, all the Gallifrey stories we had so far, apart from, I guess, End of Time, it's just bad. Let's not do a Time Lord story ever again, because they're just bad.
Well, we're not now. It's dead again.
I'm just gonna put it awful, mate. I'm just gonna put it on awful.
I'm gonna put it in meh. It just completely disregards its first part. Heaven Sent was a great story about the grieving process, and then Hellbent just takes a shit on it, really. The first bit on Gallifrey, I liked that. I really did. And, you know, facing off against Rassilon. After that point, it does fall apart with the Doctor just being Hellbent. Ooh, get it? Getting Clara back. I hate how he breaks his rules of, you know, killing a Time Lord, and his excuse basically being, oh, it's fine, he'll regenerate. And yeah, no, that's not the Doctor. But I think, yeah, in general, I'm just going to put this as meh, because it had potential. There's things I liked about it, but I don't ultimately hate it, but I don't think it shouldn't be hated either.
So it's in awful, pretty bad, or meh. Are we going to have the middle ground and put it in pretty bad?
Yeah, I think pretty bad. Let's crown pretty bad with its first one.
As a Christmas episode, it is actually quite enjoyable. However, the villain isn't actually a villain at all. You then start to think, what's the point of the rest of the episode then? If there's no actual villain, what's the point of the rest of the episode? And then obviously the final goodbye with Bill and Nardole, as you know, testimony. Again, the Clara coming back at the end, it was just a bit tacked on a little bit, like, yeah, we'll throw her in as well just to say goodbye, because it's the first face he saw and sort of thing. I think overall, I will say, I'll go meh. I'll go meh.
It's kind of weird that the Doctor's just talking to himself, saying random nonsense. Like, it makes sense with the length Doctor just saying a whole speech because Clara is in the room. It's not awkward. He's just, yeah. I mean, technically he's talking to the TARDIS. It's just pairs, and he just goes on tangent because the Doctor needs to have a speech before he regenerates for some reason. What was the story? There was not really a story. It had an interesting premise at the start, like time's frozen and stuff, and then it kind of goes flat. For some reason it goes like it's not frozen because Rusty's there. And what is this? I don't understand the story, and it shouldn't exist. I'm going to put it in awful.
I think there is a worse episode in Series 10 that deserves to be on this list more than this one, because honestly, it's not a bad episode by any means. It's just got no story, and it definitely was a bit of a tag on. Definitely not the best story. I wasn't particularly a fan of how they portrayed the first Doctor in some instances. I really enjoyed the World War I sequence at Christmas Day. I thought that was beautifully done and particularly looked beautiful visually. I really do think it's a nice episode, to be honest. I don't think it deserves to be on this list at all. So in that opinion, I'm going to put it on not bad, but shouldn't be hated.
If I was to really describe this story in actual letters, it would be many letter Zs. Many letter Zs, because it's not interesting at all. Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, the absolute worst.
Wow, I would say the absolute same. Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, this is just not how you write a Doctor Who finale. There was no build-up to it from the start. I mean, obviously, because there was a lack of series arc in this one anyway, apart from name-dropping the Timeless Child once. It's not like Tim Shah's return was highly anticipated after his first episode, or maybe it was, I don't know. I didn't particularly feel mad about seeing him again, even though he's probably one of the better of the villains rogue, but it rips off another series finale, The Stolen Earth, by literally stealing other planets and putting them in some weird shape things. Yeah, that was lazy. Don't know why Chibnall penned that. It's just not how he should be writing television, really, so I would put that, whilst I don't find it offensively bad, I would put it at the absolute worst.
I suppose as bad as it is for some people, it's got people talking more about Doctor Who, maybe in the wrong way perhaps. What we need is Chibnall to wrap this up properly in series 13 or in the future. We need, until it's been resolved and wrapped up, we can't say fully, because you never know, there might be more revelations in the future that might answer our questions perhaps. Yeah, go middle, go awful.
This episode is just a PowerPoint story with a few other ideas. It's in the absolute worst.
Yeah, I'm going to try and rate this episode without taking out the timeless child plot element, because that would immediately bring it down to the absolute worst, because I despise this episode for bringing this in and absolutely fucking up 57 years of Doctor Who lore. Oh, yeah, honestly, now I think about it, there's not a lot I enjoyed about this episode. I mean, one of the most interesting things was instantly taken out Ashad, the lone sideman, because the writers just didn't know what to do with him after the Master came, so proof that the Master, or this incarnation of the Master, just fucking ruins things. Yeah, I still didn't enjoy the episode by any means. I'm honestly struggling to find what I liked about it, but I think the only reason it goes above Ranskoor out of Kolos is because at least it had something. It was a bit more entertaining to watch. Yeah, that's the word. Entertaining to watch. It was more entertaining to watch than the snooze fest that was the finale of Series 11. So for that reason, I'm going to put it at awful. But if we were considering the timeless children, which I'm not, just to make it a bit fairer, it would be absolute worst.
Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.